Hey, hello. So today I'm going to do a video about how to keep kids or students, young or any age, interested in tennis or any sport for that matter, or any activity. I was going to do this video a little while ago. I've been asked about, quote, how do you keep your own kids, your own children interested in tennis and spend so much time with them on the court and not go bonkers. So I brainstormed about doing this video for a while and stringing this racket not long ago. I told myself with rain approaching that I would just go ahead and use my own kids as examples for different ages of learning the game in which my wife and I coach. It's important to know that every child or student are inherently different. No different than my eye color and someone else's, or my hair color or attitude. Everyone is different. So that's something that we have to remember as coaches or as parents that are trying to teach our kids a game that maybe even us parents don't know anything about, but would rather them be trying to be fit, learning to be sportsmen, than maybe being inside all the time or playing video games or whatever it may be. So I kind of thought kind of deeply on this one, so I figured I would just speak about my own kids who age 2, 5, 8, 13, and 15 that all played the game and that we have coached inherently. They've had a few lessons with others and hit with people often, but fundamentally we have coached them. So I will just start and end with examples of my own kids, and pardon my 2-year-old in the background, but he's a player too and just getting excited as well. So I'm going to start with my 15-year-old son, who is Jonathan, who is a decent player. Now, I use him as a reference if you were training or teaching a new student as a 13-year-old. He's 15, but we started him at 13. It was very late, and Carla and I were doing different things. She was coaching others and myself as well, and we tended to not have enough time to look into Jonathan's game as we'd like to. So we take responsibility for that, but nonetheless, for the past 2 years, he's been training well. So I mentioned that in that we all meet new 13-year-old students from time to time, and again, now he's 15. So how do we keep a 13-year-old that's just beginning to stay energized to learn a sport that is inherently very difficult? For me, as dad, when he got aggravated or didn't feel like he was doing well, I was dad, so I pulled the dad role. But as a coach, I feel like 13-year-old boys react very well to some tenacity in your coaching, to some fire in your coaching, some rewarding but not quite like you would do for a very young student. You know, hooray, hooray. Give him or her some congratulations and way to go, let's go. Because as they grow up to this adolescent age, they tend to have more fire in them. You just have to find that fire. So it's a tough juggle for me to teach a new 13-year-old student than it would be to teach a new 5-year-old student, because the 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds and on up, they're getting older a little bit, their emotions are everywhere, and they may fire back at you, they may be rebellious towards you, whatever. But if you can find something that they're good at, whether it's a forehand or a backhand or a half volley or an overhead, and get them to hit that shot, it kind of gives them that energy to keep learning. So with Jonathan, starting him late, basically what I felt worked for him was to be energetic, to be complimentative, to sprinkle in a lot of high fives, obviously work on the basics. For him, it was just a matter of constant work and at the same time constant young manly, or if it's a young lady, way to go, come on, let's go. Firing up and making them feel like fit and energized, like they can take on the world. So that's how I feel was the best way initially for me to keep Jonathan, who is now 15, involved in it and ready to keep battling it out on the court. On the court every day when he doesn't want to practice, You know, I don't want to be out here. And he doesn't say that, but he might drag his feet. You can see it. I try to find some way I can reward him. Hey, let's have a good workout today. If you have a good workout today, then hey, maybe we'll check out a movie or something. And if not, then I won't even mention it. But he'll finally condition himself to know that as long as I get out there and work, then maybe I'll have some extra bonuses. So that's how I address my 15-year-old. Keep him involved, and now he wants to play daily. And I still keep up those. Great job, great job, great job. Come on, let's go, get fit. Sometimes I'll make him do some push-ups, so when he gets up, he feels energized and built, you know, like, yeah, I just did some push-ups. All right, let's hit again. That's just me, though, and he likes it that way. Now, my next youngest son is 13, and we started him when he was 11. Again, he was a victim of the same type of situation in which myself and Carla were coaching others. And working in other things, and unfortunately we started Chris late at 11 as well. However, Christopher at 11 hadn't quite hit that adolescent puberty, testosterone, whatever you want to say, so he was still more childish, and he wanted to be like his older brother doing push-ups, so he kind of followed his older brother, and now is developing, I think, more rapidly than his older brother. However, we still have to keep him interested in it. So how do you keep someone that is 12 and 13 running around the court and still being very boyish involved? Well, we play a lot of points with him. We keep him energized by trying to maybe play against his brother. We don't let the matches go on long because then they start to brag and it causes problems between them at home. So we try to keep Chris energized by him watching Jonathan stay energized. So with my 8-year-old, who's a girl, she feeds off of the 13-year-old and the 15-year-old, and what she wants to do is just beat her older brothers. So I only am mentioning my kids again because they're my kids and I don't want to speak about anyone else's kids, but you can use this as a metaphor for if you're teaching your own lessons at your own club in which you have a mixed clinic with 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds. Sometimes it happens that way. And if you split it in a way in which the younger ones want to be like the older ones, you find it becomes reciprocal. It becomes a really nice clinic and everybody feeds off one another. And as long as it stays orderly, then it can really be a great time. So again, my 8-year-old feeds off the 13-year-old. The 13-year-old feeds off the 15-year-old. And unfortunately, the 15-year-old doesn't have much to feed off of except himself and my mother. Myself and Carla, my wife. But he feeds off of that, and we try to play him some sets here and there to get him pumped up. Let him have a few games here and there, and it helps out, so he gets to feed off us. With our 5-year-old, it's a tough juggle because she is one that still is very much into dolls and toys and slime and all this other stuff. However, she, at about 5, started feeding off of her older sister. Now she wants to hit balls like her older sister. She wants to be able to hit balls back and forth like her older sister. She wants to play doubles like the boys do with her sister against us. So she's beginning to feed off of the energy too. So the littlest one, who is 2, he has been on a court since maybe he was 2 weeks old. Maybe 3 weeks. I may be exaggerating that. Carla, he's been on court since maybe a month old or so.
Yeah, about a month.
So we would bring him out on the court, and so ever since he's been born, he has been on a tennis court. I think when he was about a year and a half, and I have pictures in some of my other videos, you can check those out. I think he started hitting balls with a little tiny baby racket and on his own. Without us even trying. He just picked up the racket and wanted to emulate his brothers and sisters, and he kept hitting balls and so forth. So with him, it's been a conditioned response psychologically. Have been on the court, it's almost for him, it seems like it's second nature, if that makes any sense. We'll see though. I mean, he's 2 years old. So at the end of the day, again, I was asked how I keep my own kids, meaning being the parent and coaching my own kids, how I keep them enthusiastic on the court, thus not turning it into a zoo was something along the same question I was at. I promise you, sometimes it's a zoo, okay? It definitely sometimes is a zoo. Just because we put videos up that seem to be orderly or maybe redundant or mundane, the same thing, about 50% of the time it is a zoo. But we try to make it to where that zoo turns into fun. Everybody needs to understand that there's fitness involved, there's being a sportsman involved, there's learning a game and strategy involved. There's a lot of stuff involved. And I think as long as we understand that every student, whether it's your own kid, own child, it doesn't matter. Every kid's different. So if you can find a way to get to know your student from the get-go, maybe have a lesson, don't even charge them for a lesson, or if it's your first kid, go out there with 3 balls or 100 balls. But find a way that you can make them able to enjoy their time on the court initially. Then find something that you can pick out as being maybe a weapon that they can learn, and they can just really exploit that weapon so they get energized to be out there. And then let the rest fall in from there. So again, I didn't mean to ramble on, but again, I've been asked on numerous occasions, how do I coach 5 of my own children on the court and maintain some sense of equilibrium or sanity? So that's kind of how we do it, just by sheer going out there and somehow finding a way to remain smiles and fun, even though half the time it's not. Anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it a lot. Click subscribe below. Any of these type requests, I'll do my best to answer them. So I hope the young lady who asked about this gets something out of it. But realize it's not all fun all the time. And as long as you realize that what you're doing is absolutely priceless, then everything else is secondary. But anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate the question. Hope you like it. Subscribe below. Click a like. Check out our website, www.5KTennis.com. Otherwise, peace. 5K Tennis. See ya.